Hi, everyone. I am Benjamin Reese. I've gotten the pleasure to work with these students this week, speaking a little bit. We'll be speaking tonight as well on John. But I'm really happy to have you all here. And we're going to just chat about our experiences a little bit, the experiences that you all have had on this week. So I have here Alyssa. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi. Yeah.
Hi.
Will.
Hi.
Yeah. And Mrs. Ferguson.
Hello.
So, Mrs. Ferguson, I'll start with you.
Sure.
Just tell a little bit about your background and what your role is at the school and how you got connected to this trip and how it's been going so far.
Oh, it's a long story. I'll keep it short, though,
Okay.
because this is my 19th year teaching.
Wow.
But I was not a teacher to start with. My career was in prosthetics. So I came...
prosthetics?
Prosthetics, yeah. I have a degree in prosthetics.
Okay,
so.
wow.
So I came to the school as a mom first, 25 years ago. My children attended SCA, 3 of them, and just really wanted our children to be around other believers, other families that thought the way we thought. And so we found SCA when it was really much smaller than it is now, of course. And through that, I just became addicted to it and just always wanted to be there as a room mom and, volunteering. And I just really just wanted to be there. So long story short, I ended up being asked if, we were growing. And so I ended up being asked if I would be interested in teaching some math and science courses.
They were like, you're already around all the time anyways.
Well,
you might as well.
I ended my career and left my practice and was a stay-at-home mom. And so they just asked. So, of course, I said yes. And so that's how I got to be teaching, and I teach science.
That's amazing. So how many of these type trips have you been on, these senior trips?
I think this is my 7th. So
okay, wow,
I haven't done 7 in a row, but
you've done, throughout your career, you've done 7. So what has your experience been like so far on this trip with this group? What has your experience been like?
Well, every trip is different. So, but what I love most about these trips is that I see these kids in the classroom, and that's a completely different experience than what I see on these trips.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm the crier.
Feel
what
free.
I see on these trips, because in the classroom, it's academics, and I'm looking at their work ethics in learning and things like that. And whereas on these trips, I'm seeing life, and seeing how I've been just shocked sometimes where, I'll just see the work ethic of a student, and I'll look back and think, well, that's not the same person I see in the classroom. It's just different. It's different kind of work, and it's really kingdom work. And so I'm just always so excited to come. And because even though you come into it with maybe some expectations, you're always just blown away really by what you see in these students.
Wow. That's really great. It's wonderful to see different aspects of your students and just having those experiences that you get to see even different parts of themselves and gifts shine. That's really wonderful. So I'll turn to you, Alyssa. Okay. Tell me, what is your kind of background, a little bit about how you got connected to the school, and then what has your experience been like on this trip?
Yeah, okay. So I came in 5th grade, and my dad's actually the principal of the high school. So he's on this trip with me, and that's why I came, because he was going to be the principal. So we're like, okay, well, Alyssa can go to SCA now. So, yeah, but I've loved it. I've just been here. So that's, I don't even know, like 7 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's that. And then this trip, I knew I was going to have a positive attitude about it. Like, it's a hard trip. You hear crazy stories, but I was like, I'm going to have fun no matter what. But I was kind of expecting it be like kind of like frustrated a lot of the times. Like, it's going to be hard. Like, I knew it wasn't going to be easy.
Right.
But I have absolutely loved it. Like, I've just had so much fun, and I've just been blown away. Like, the way that I felt on day 2, I didn't think I was going to like feel like that until like day 6.
Wow.
So I've loved it so much.
Yeah, it's amazing how the Spirit of the Lord can help kind of speed up the process of just like connecting with people and getting into service. So what have you been doing service-wise, and what has that experience been like?
It's been great. So the past 2 days we went to our kids camp, and that was okay, well, we were told, like, oh, you're just doing a kids camp. And I kind of thought it was going to be, like, organized, like maybe in a church. No, we went to a park. We were in a pavilion, and there were 2 benches. Like, that's what we were doing. And no kids were there. And we were like, this is interesting. Like, I wasn't really expecting this. And so we literally went around to the apartments and knocked on doors. And we're like, hey, we're having a camp. Like, do you have any kids in here? Mm-hmm. Which is kind of scary. But it was absolutely amazing. And so a lot of them, they only speak Spanish. We had like a couple who spoke some English, and we were very, very gifted with that because, well, not us. We were very blessed because one of the kids in our group speaks Spanish like he's fluent. Like, I'm pretty sure that was his first language. So thank you, David. David was the MVP
Good job, David.
of the whole 2 weeks. If you're watching us, David, we love him. And we had Miss Puckett, who's literally the Spanish teacher.
Okay, so that was good.
Yes, we were, but it was still like so hard because like you're with these little kids and you're having so much fun, but you literally cannot communicate with them.
Right.
And so it was just, we had to scratch a lot of the plans that we had at first because we had like this whole Bible lesson where it's like we were going to read, we were going to make crafts, and it was like, that's just not going to happen right now. Like we can't do the same thing, which is again the idea of like living in the now. But I would have liked some more preparation there. Like it was scary. It was hard. We had to deal with that.
Yeah.
But again, it was just so much fun getting to see these kids because the second day we were there, like we already had kids like waiting for us 30 minutes early, like ready for us to come play with them. And like all the little girls would just run to us and hug us. And yeah, I just had so much fun with that.
That's wonderful. So you did find, even with the language barrier, you could connect with some of the kids and make some sort of contact with them. And that's really special. Well, that's amazing. Thank you for sharing those experiences. I love hearing people have to show that flexibility and resourcefulness that we're called to do as disciples of Christ. And I like that. I kind of like that your school has like, there's stories that are passed down and people are like, ooh, I don't know, but like this is, it's tough and it's hard. And like people are going in with that expectation that it's not going to be just like this breeze. I think that's cool. But you loved it. So, and that's the amazing thing about following God. It seems hard, but when we get into it, we find so much joy where we wouldn't expect it. I think that's wonderful. So let's go over to you, Will. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah. So I come from a family of 4. I've grown up in church, but I came to SCA in 7th grade, which is right at the start of middle school, right when you're kind of like a stubborn little middle schooler. Right. And so I did not want to go to SCA.
I work with middle schoolers, so I totally know,
I did not want to go to SCA. I kind of like fought my parents about it, just because I didn't want to like leave my friends. I didn't want to leave what was comfortable to me. But it was one of the greatest blessings I've ever had, because, I mean, it took maybe a week to find like a group of my best friends. And so SCA has just been great to me, and that transition was amazing. And I've grown so much in SCA, and I've also gotten a lot of opportunities through SCA, like leading a small group of 7th graders or whatever it is. Like there's been a lot of opportunities that have just grown me that I wouldn't get otherwise. So, yeah.
That's great. So what has this trip been like for you?
Yeah, I got to say it's not what I expected.
Okay.
Because like Alyssa said, you come in with like, there are some expectations from like what other classes say about theirs, but I really do think every class is different, and I don't think they really relate ever. But the trip's just been like eye-opening, but also just like really joyful for me to see like, because I thought, like Alyssa said, like I thought a lot of the things that I've already been experiencing and seeing my classmates experience would come later in the week. And it was slow like the first night and a little bit the second night too. But like last night, like I really saw like the vulnerability of our class, and everyone just kind of like start to lean into the Lord and lean into each other. And it's been so great to be able to like interact and like have relationships with people I never would have expected I would.
Yeah.
Partially because of how intentional the groups are put together, but also it's like whenever you truly like break down and lean into the Lord, it like doesn't matter who it is. Like a brother in Christ or a sister in Christ, like they're just your brothers and sisters. And like when you get in that vulnerable state, it's like we're all just there for each other, and we're all just like loving on each other. And it's like one of the most amazing things I've ever experienced.
That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, one of the great things that Jesus does for us is tear down those walls of hostility, those divisions that so often divide people and make people angry at each other. And you guys are discovering the unity that can come from sharing values in Jesus. That's amazing. So you guys have really felt like this has been an opportunity for you all to even deepen your relationships with your fellow classmates.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. So I'm going to ask, just in terms of one thing that you would want to take away from this trip, like that something that has started on this trip that you're feeling like, wow, God has kind of shown me this, or I need to do this, that you would like to see continue into the future. So any one of you can start. I'll just pass it off to one of you all.
you want to go ahead?
Sure, thanks.
Uh,
I'd say one of the biggest things is probably the worship. I know like we have chapel like every week and we worship together as a whole school.
Mm.
But oh my gosh, the worship last night was crazy. Like I was just crying, just like getting to experience, like we're all sitting there like just pouring our hearts out to God. And we're not thinking about who's around us. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I have chills talking about it.
It's
and
amazing.
So we like worshiped like that. And then this morning I got to talk to Hunter about it this earlier. And I was like, just the idea of like taking that back to the underclassmen. Because a lot of times like we have senior chapel and it's led by the seniors and we're all sitting together and all the seniors sit in the front and they're worshiping and the underclassmen are watching and they're like, that's powerful. But like they're all in their little bubble almost. And I was like, I would love it if we got to separate, we disperse, we take that idea of like such powerful worship and we actually like go to the underclassmen.
Yeah.
And like try to get them with us and not just like, oh, we're in our bubble and we had a great trip. It's not about us. It's about them and bringing that to them.
Yeah, that is amazing. It's really wonderful that you're conscious of the impact that you have as an upperclassman. I had some seniors say encouraging words to me that I remember to this day. I mean, like a older student taking notice of you as a younger student is such a blessing. And for you guys to be conscious of like, hey, how can I reach out to those underclassmen is amazing. And I encourage you to continue it forward. What about for you?
Yeah, so I would say me and my group talked about this last night or the night before, but I remember when I came to SCA in 7th grade, I still remember that senior class so well because I remember how they led the school. I remember their senior song just because just because of the way they lived it out.
Yeah.
And so like if I could take anything back, I want our class to go back with an agreement that we are going to take that and like we're going to really live that out and we're going to lead that way because like I've seen what it's like when a class does lead that way and it truly changed a lot inside of me because I was like, that's what I want to be. And so, I mean, since that year, like I've always wanted that to be our class. But I think there's really an opportunity now for us to all come together and say like, we're going to lead our school that way. Like we're going to not just sing these songs. We're not just going to say these mottos. We're not just going to come back and tell these stories, but we're going to live them out because we're going to show the underclassmen, we're going to show the school like what it can be like truly living these out. Like they mentioned earlier, like the beef talks, like things like that we don't have to just leave on the mission trip. Like, oh, that was really good. We got rid of that beef or we sang that really good song, but like bring them back and make it our lifestyle. And I think that's how it's meant to be. Like, I don't think we're supposed to have a really good on fire week and then just be like, that was a really good on fire week. Right. But like truly make that a lifestyle that we bring back and live out. Because I do think that as a senior class, we have so much more impact than we often even realize because everyone's looking at you. And like Alyssa said, like we can stand in the front and we can have our own great worship and we can really dive in and have a good time together. But what is that really doing to help other people? And so like Alyssa said, like dispersing, truly leaning into the underclassmen, leaning into other people and not just keeping those experiences for ourselves, but trying to pass those on, teach them, hey, this is how we do it. This is how we get through the beef. This is how we worship. This is how we truly lean into God and each other. So yeah, just taking that mindset back and making it a lifestyle and not just a trip we remember. So.
Right. Hey, that's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing your heart. And I'm glad we captured those words on this podcast because I think they're really powerful. And I hope your other classmates get to hear your heart behind that. I think that's wonderful. I'm going to leave the final word with you, Mrs. Ferguson. So you have a lot of years of experience working with these students, a lot of wisdom that you've accrued over that time. What do you hope that these students walk away from this week remembering or learning?
Yeah. Well, they're at a stage in their life where they're constantly asked questions about their future, you know, where they're going to go to college and what they want to be. And my heart is that they don't look too far forward, but just really right now, what can you do today? What can you do to help someone else and care for someone else?
Right.
And like Will said, let that become their lifestyle. You know, if we look too far forward, we miss it, you know? And so I just really want to continue to encourage them that they will live, as Mr. Hessman says, in the now, but just to seek out those opportunities that they won't miss, and just really to try to not write their own story. You know, the flesh wants to write the story. I want to go to this college and I want to seek out this degree and I want to live in this house and I want these things. But really let God be the author of each story and every single chapter that they live. And really just to be a child of God is really their best job. After that, it doesn't matter. Like it comes with a great benefit package. So just, you know, that's what I just hope that they just really continue to grow their relationship with Him. They're in the Word every single day, just continuing to grow that relationship and knowing that He's really in control. As much as the decisions you want to make and as much stress as you put on making those decisions, if you make the wrong decision, He's going to turn you and put you where He wants you to be. And so, you know, being older, I have story after story after story where I thought I was in control. And He has shown me that He was always in control.
Well, that is a wonderful word to leave on, just remembering those words from the book of Hebrews, that Jesus is the author and perfecter of our faith, and He gets to write our story. And you guys are amazing. And I know that Jesus is writing a really cool story with your all's lives. So I hope that a very important chapter gets written to this week in your lives. So thank you, everyone out there listening. And this has been wonderful. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.